y'all, it's Kim from Kim Dixon Creative. I'm here for TLC Designs, and I'm bringing you a cute little A2 size card using the Posh Pups digital stamp set as well as the Posh Pups digital paper set. So I found a card sketch online that I liked, and so that's what I'm working off of. I'm going to have this little image be the center of my card. It's going to be a little 3x3 panel, which is one of the wonderful things about digital illustrations. You can make them as small or as large as you like. And that's what I did on this one. I have this scaled down to where it will fit a little 3x3 panel on the front of my card. Now I'm coloring up this little doxy like my little girl, and my little girl's name is Precious. She's a smooth hair. She's not long hair like this little illustration is, but I'm coloring her up kind of like Precious. And she's a little red dachshund, and she is absolutely the light of our lives, aside from the grandchildren, of course. But I'm just taking some of my alcohol markers and coloring her up. I am using Express-It blending card to color with, and my alcohol markers. I have a variety of different alcohol markers. But I'm just going in and laying down, like I always do, laying down a layer of the lightest color, then adding my darkest color, and then blending out with the mid-tones. And then when I feel like I need to, going back in with that lightest color and blending all of that together. And so that's how I color. I know a lot of other people color differently. They will lay down their darkest color first. And I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. I just, it works best for me that way. So that's how I do it. At any rate, I'm going to color up this little image. I'm not coloring it up as a Christmas card this time. This is basing my colors off of a piece of the digital paper in the paper pack, and it has some teal colored bows on the paper, and that's what I'm going to be using on the card. So I'm coloring this up to kind of match that. And I'm coloring this little bow to be a pretty teal colored or turquoise colored bow. And again, just adding in some shadows as I can with my alcohol markers. Now once I get the bow colored up, I'm going to color the box, and I love the look of a very pretty decorated box, but wrapped in craft paper. I always love to do this, especially at Christmas time. Wrap my gifts in craft paper and then put really, really pretty bows on them. It's funny. I go to pretty great lengths to decorate my packages, and I know that my grown children expect my packages to be decorated that way, especially at Christmas. They don't like for me to put things in bags. They have to be wrapped packages. And I know it goes back to when they were kids, especially when I was a single mom. There wasn't all that much in the package. So you decorate the outside of the package to make what's inside the package seem a little more special. And so I got into this terrible habit and have pigeonholed myself into this situation to where I have to really decorate up my packages at Christmas. But I do like the look of the brown paper with the really pretty colored ribbons on it, and I just really like that. So I'm going to continue coloring up this box here, and I've got quite a bit more coloring to do, so I'm just going to play some music for you while I color, and then we'll come back together when it's time to put the card together. So here you see I'm going to kind of mask off an area. I've already cut my panel out to the 3x3 panel that I need, but I want a background on this. So I've kind of masked off a straight line across where I'm going to color in the floor. And I realize as I'm coloring the floor that I'm using the same color that I used to color my dachshund. So I want her little feet to show, and so I'm going to go in with some lines to make a kind of like a hardwood floor look, like the plank floor, and add some other colors. Funny story about this little plank floor that I'm coloring up here. That was just a black gel pen that I used to go in and make my lines for my flooring. And I kind of angled them so that it looked like you were looking into the room. As I reached up for that black gel pen, as I was bringing my hand down, I found the pair of cuticle clippers that I keep on my little organizer in not a very comfortable way. I just about sliced my finger open on those cuticle nippers, who, by the way, they're not there anymore. I've moved them. But so I had to stop the video for a little bit and clean things up. Luckily, nothing got on my card front, which made me happy. But anyway, what I did on that floor is just went in with a darker color and made some lines, went back in with my mid-tone, made some more lines, and then blended it out with my lighter color. And so now what I'm doing, I've cut a card base. I've cut it to 4 1/4 by 11 and scoring it at 5 1/2 to make an A2 top folding card. I like to make top folding cards. I don't know why. Because they're different. I like to do different. And here are the 2 papers from the digital paper pack that I'm going to be using. That brown is beautiful. It almost looks like leather when you print it out. It's absolutely beautiful. And so the brown is going to be my matting color, and then I'm going to use my others. The print that's got the kind of teal colored bows and ribbons on it will be my focal, the paper that I'm really focusing on. So I'm just going to cut this brown down to I'm trimming it up, getting all the white edges off of it now. But I'm going to trim it down to 5 1/4 by 4. And then again, my printer pulls in my paper a little bit crooked, so you can't just stick it up in your paper trimmer and cut straight. You have to kind of get it going to start with, and so sometimes I do have little white edges, and that drives me nuts. So I'll fiddle with this for a little bit, but once I get that like I like it, again, I ended up taking my scissors out for it. It was driving me crazy. And then I'm going to cut this at 5 by 3 1/4, and it will mat on top of that brown. And then I have a strip going down the middle. I'm going to cut it down to, the brown will be cut down to 2 3/4 by, no, it looks like it's 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. And then on top of that will be another piece of the teal, and we'll cut it down to 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and it'll go directly on top of there. And I want to also map my little focal image there, so I'm going to cut a 3 1/4 inch square. And surprisingly, I'm not popping anything up on this card. Everything's just going to get glued down. There's several layers of paper, so I'm just going to glue everything flat down for the most part. So that's my original mat. Everything's just a 1/4 of an inch smaller there, so that I'll have about 1/8 of an inch border. And I use liquid glue just because it's what I'm most accustomed to, and I don't always get things straight, so it helps. It gives me a few minutes to try to get things straight. Now this little strip is going to go down the center of the card, and it's the same length as the mat behind it, the brown mat behind it. And then I have my teal strip going to go on top of there. You see my band-aid there on my ring finger. So I'm going to glue my focal image on top of its mat. And I'm just going to kind of lay it there to check. Because of all of the other layers, that focal image isn't going to lay exactly flat. So I'm just going to cut a couple of little strips of scrap cardstock to glue on either side of that panel so that it will be flush across the front of that card. Otherwise, if I don't put that there, it's going to kind of bend on those two sides a little bit. I'm probably the only person that would notice that, but I want it to be level and flush on the front of the card. So I'm just going to put these two little strips of cardstock there so that it will kind of, and I've doubled up the cardstock as well because there's two layers of cardstock underneath. But I just want it to lay flat across there. I'm going to get that glued down and then glue this to the center of my card. Now, to add a little more interest to the front of the card, I've pulled some sequins in from my stash. I don't like that little naked area up there in the corner, so I'm going to put some sequins. They're the perfect colors. They're really tiny. They're not very big at all, but they're brown and teal and they're clear. And so I'm going to put just some sequins on the card in random places, specifically in that corner to give something there in that corner. And then I go and put 3 more around the card. And it just adds a little more interest to it, to the card. And you know, if I'm not going to pop anything up with foam, I need to put some bling on it. So but anyway, that's our card for today. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. Head on over to TLC Designs and pick up this paper pack and this digital image. There are other images in this digital stamp. There's a little French bulldog. There's all kinds of things in that stamp set that I know that you'll love. So head on over there to TLC Designs and pick up that stamp set. There's a link in the description box below. Thanks again for stopping by. Until next time, bye.